What's up, everybody? Stacking Surfer here. Welcome to the show. I got a great guest today, so stick around for that. And I've got an awesome show, guys. We're going to be going over a whole bunch of silver stuff. So if you have been sleeping under a rock, you probably don't know that silver's just been popping the last 2 days, especially yesterday, went up a lot. And every time that happens, I know someone that just sold some silver and they regret it. Okay. Um, So that happens to all of us, I guess. There's other times where it goes down and you just bought silver. So that's usually not the fun one too. So we're gonna have a couple ground rules here, and then I'm gonna bring our guest up in a little bit. So number one, um, if you have a question, go ahead and put it in caps. I'll try to get to that. If you have a really, really important question that you really need to make sure we get to today, super chat's going to be the best way for me to find out what it is. Don't go crazy on the super chats, but that's gonna be the easiest way for me to kind of figure out where you're at with that, guys. Um, Next, we're gonna I'm starting to kind of work into a format that we're gonna hit today. So we're gonna hit some news. We're going to hit some posts on X, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the market to start off with. Is today a good day to go buy silver and gold, or is it a good day to sell it? Okay. As you guys know, the price is locked in, and we've got the weekend now to kind of deal with it. So we're going to look at that. We're going to figure those things out, and then I'm going to be showing you guys some really cool silver. So we're going to be talking about silver stacking shields today. Okay. And then I've got a special one of these that I'm going to show you. Who's the guest? See, the guest is already poking his head up. You guys are going to know who that guest is in a minute. Um, so these guys here, we're going to be going over quite a bit from the series here. But this isn't the surprise. The surprise is the big brothers. Okay, these are the little ones. I actually, you can get even smaller ones than these that are um, half ounce. These are the 2 ounces. And then I've got a special one that's going to be our, I guess I can't just call it coin of the week because it's technically not a coin. None of these are coins. Um, so it's going to be the silver bar round or coin of the week. I guess that's what we'll call it. And then I'm going to show you guys some other silver too that I think is a better buy right now than this stuff. However, I'm going to share with you guys why I have this. Why I bought it. Do I regret buying these? Would I recommend buying these? And we're going to kind of go into that with you guys too. All right, so go ahead and hit that thumbs up. And if you guys are new to the channel, hit the subscribe so you don't miss anything. And we're going to dive into some of the news here, and then we'll bring our guest up here in just a minute. All right, so let's hit screen share, and we're going to see how well this works today. All right, add it to the stage. And in order to kind of make things work, we've got to have the silver cam up the whole time so you guys can hear me. That's where I'm feeding off of. So this won't be quite as big as you might not be able to see this well on a mobile phone. So I'll try to read those for you too. All right. So our friend Kevin over at North Star, he's got some pretty cool charts that have just hit in the last couple of days that he's showing. And I'll see if I can get this bigger. Yes. Okay. So I think you guys can see it better that way. Okay. So a couple things that I wanted to point out here that I thought this was interesting. So if you look at the chart down below here, you can see these different patterns of a move up, a pattern of a move down, up, and then we get kind of this consolidation sideways. And now it looks like we're going to have an up, and it's probably all three of these. So what you're looking at is the silver prices in the silver color, oil is in black. That makes a lot of sense, and gold is in yellow, or actually the color of gold, right? It's in gold. So what we're starting to see here is we're starting to see a breakout in gold and silver. Most of you are aware of the breakout we've had in gold. A lot of you think that we'll never have a breakout in silver because you leave me comments all the time, and you are sad. Well, it looks like we're about to have that, and I think it may have just started. Now, what he's pointing out in this post, this is something to kind of watch for, is he's pointing out that at some point here for mining stocks, okay, this is for those of you that have mining stocks or are considering mining stocks, there's a huge potential right now for mining stocks, okay? But what he's pointing out is there's going to be a time where as gold and silver really start to rise, so will oil. And as oil starts to rise, it's going to get more expensive to mine gold and silver. And so he's looking at the correlations here. Okay, not cause and effect, but correlations, that as that oil price starts to get really high up there, which, he's kind of pointing to, I don't know where exactly his range is going to be in here for sure. But, at least for the gold, he's pointed out that he believes it's going to hit somewhere between 8,000 and $12,000 an ounce for gold between 2028 and 2032. So if gold does that, he's got these other numbers here where silver kind of hits into there too. Um, this is where silver would hit on that chart, right? So it depends on the ratios. It depends on what happens, but someone would have to do the ratio for me. Actually, let me see if I can do it here real quick. So I got to put old man glasses on here so I can read. But let's say gold gets up to 10,700 and he's got it at 490. Just a second. Oh, whoops. 10,700. So hypothetically, if that happens, we are looking at, and let's say silver got up to 390, that'd be a ratio of 27. Okay. So he's not saying that that's what the ratio is going to be. It's just a scale on the side there, guys. But we could see things like that happen. So that's the first post I wanted to put in there. Let me see if you guys have any questions on that before I move on to there. Kitco closing price of silver is 36.04. So I would say we are seeing a run. What I will be looking for, and what I recommend you guys look for too, is look at what happens Sunday night. So at 3 o'clock Pacific, 6 o'clock Eastern. Start watching that. Sal has a really good live stream when the price comes on. Mods, if you can put Sal's channel in here, that's one that I definitely recommend you guys go check out. He'll start showing you what's going on. If the bullion banks are going to short silver, they're probably going to do it either Sunday night or they're going to do it first thing in the morning. Well, maybe not first thing in the morning, but an hour or two after the market opens. Pacific is kind of what I look at. So let's say it kind of seems that they go in there and they start to hit it down around 9 or 10 Pacific in the morning. If by the end of Monday we see a price that's higher than 36, I think they're letting it run. Now they could let it run for a week or two and try to pull it back. It just depends. So I'm not saying we're going straight up, but I will tell you that there is no resistance until you get to 50, and we're going to talk about that here in just a second. All right, so let's look at the next post on here. Before I do that, let me see if you guys have any questions here on this one. Okay, I'll reach out to you, Joseph. Okay, so we've got gold right here real quick at 331167. And then we have silver up here. Okay, so you guys can see those, so we don't need to go over to Kitco for that. Let's see. All right, let's see if you had any quick questions here. Yeah, Silver Degen's getting some stuff, so welcome. Yes, in my opinion, it will. But it's probably going to be playing games back and forth, kind of a hopscotch with gold. So I think you'll probably see it go down further, and then I think you're going to see gold start to jump back up. And but I do think you'll see it go back over 100. The real question is going to be is what will happen to it in the long run here. Are we going to continue to see it play hopscotch, or are we going to see silver get smashed down in the next week or two, and then a GSR that goes much higher? So if this is the real silver breakout right now, it's going to jump. All right, so let's look over here. So I've got this post here. So you guys saw that one from North Star. This one's from Chris Marcus. Let's blow this one up a little bit here. Keep in mind, this is only the third time in history that silver price has been above $36 an ounce. Okay, that's significant too, guys. So look at that. Now, also know that back in the 80s, it was highly manipulated, right? It was engineered. And so that's why you had a pretty big drop down on that there too. 2011, you have that one there too. This one could be different, especially if we go into some kind of a reset, or if we have a situation where um, there's a lot more printing going on. Okay, because all that money printing was really done back in the 70s. Okay, we got Peter Schiff. But before we hit the rest of these, I do want to bring our guest on real quick because we've got him waiting and we had to start the show a little late due to some technical issues. But I want to bring him on the stage here too, so he can add some commentary. Tiger Stacker, how are you?
Spider Stacker. Hey, everyone.
No, Tiger Stacker. So
How you doing?
doing well. So Tiger, what I'm going to do in a minute here, we'll show everybody your site and talk a little bit about your channel as we go through this. But we're going to talk a little bit about just a few more things on here in the market, what's going on with silver that I just wanted to show up and just share to everybody. If you guys aren't on X and you're not watching a bunch of these channels that I'm showing, you can go to mine. As you can see, a lot of these you can go see what I like. Um, some of them I'll repost from time to time. But these are great charts to give you guys an idea of what's going on. Okay, so Bitcoin versus gold here. Bitcoin is breaking down versus gold, guys. It keeps having a hard time. It is not passing this line here. So I'm very curious to see what happens with that. Some of you have Bitcoin fans really think gold and silver is done, and that it's just for old people and that it will die in the next 5 to 10 years. I find that curious because that's all the central banks are buying. I really don't think that's going to happen. So the dude here is talking about this one. I guess that one doesn't want to go bigger for us because it's a video. Whatever. No resistance up to 50. Silver's marched to 40 here. So you can see another chart here. All right. So you guys are kind of starting to see the theme here. We're looking at what looks to be like a silver breakout. This one's kind of interesting here too. Will the silver demand break? So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about this. And this will be the last chart I show over here from North Star charts too. So you're going to see this arc area breaking out up into here to 38 to 50. Okay, so there's another confirmation of that. All right, so we're gonna remove that guy down so we can bring our cams up here. So a couple quick things. When you look at what's going on in the silver market today and you see spot price, keep in mind the spot price is not based on what I went out and bought, and it's not based on what Tiger went out and bought the last week. Okay, there can be some influence there if a lot of us are out buying. But my melter in Los Angeles has bags and bags of constitutional silver laying all over the place. Can't sell it. Um, he's now moved to buying silver at 7% below spot. Okay. And he's going to have to keep doing that. And why is that? It's because he can't sell it to the banks. The banks aren't buying the silver. So that is a big issue. I've got another friend in our community that has reached out in chat, and he's let me know that one of the big bullion dealers is seeing a huge slowdown. And then I've had another bullion dealer reach out to me, a smaller one that wants to do something on the channel, and they just aren't selling a lot of metals. So even though we're seeing the price go up, that doesn't mean that the premiums are necessarily going to, continue to. The premiums on what you're going to sell them for is going to go higher. Okay, it seems like they're going lower. Now, something curious could happen here, and I don't know if this will happen. So I want you guys to put a 1 in if you think this is possible, but I think it may be possible in the next couple weeks to months here that if this trend continues and we start to see that gold to silver ratio dropping, we may see a scenario where when you go to sell silver, it's way below spot price, and you might be buying silver at spot price or even below spot price. The premiums can do that. If there is a ton of silver and we just flood it with selling it, that can happen. So today's show, I wanted to show you guys some really cool silver and a little bit of gold actually. And Tiger's got some great pieces too, and I'm gonna have him show his screen real quick. Um, and we're gonna bring that bigger Tiger so that you can see your stuff. Okay, so tell us a little bit about what you got on your table here.
Well, most of which is different types of stackers. Now, there's all sorts of different types of stackers. There's cheap ones, cheaper ones, such as what you can buy from Scottsdale and so through SD Bullion and maybe others. And then you got other stackers who do a little bit of their own pouring type of stacking, like Haley Bug, who's really good. But these are from different types of mints, and they do an incredible job. What you see here is all sorts of intricate 3D type of work that they will stack into each other, and it's kind of fun. I mean, it really is. It's kind of fun. I usually get two because it's kind of weird to have something that will stack when you don't have something to stack against. But I usually buy two, take them out, make sure they do stack for fun, put them back in, and then I never take them out again. But you got this shield and the Henry de France shield.
Upside down on that one.
I might be trying to get my orientation. These are the wings. It's got to go up like this. So basically, it's looks like it's Archangel Michael attacking the serpent. Then the hand shield, whatever they call this thing, I just call it the hand shield. Another one where you have Lucifer as the snake tempting Adam and Eve with the apple. Then some Korean shields here. This one, the only one I think I got three of. I thought I had one twice and ended up getting three. And angel wings. I have the 2 ounce St. Michael's slaying Satan. My wife took the 1/2 ounce ones, and she liked that one. This one resembles a vault, and then you got some Egyptian ones, which I kind of like just because it was really cool looking. So they all fit into each other. So those are some of the many that I have. I do have a few that allow for a few that are kind of interesting recently. Like, guess what they call this one? I can't
That one's
hear you.
probably the bear.
No,
You can't
it's the Tiger Stacker.
hear me?
I can hear you now. It's called the Tiger
Oh, it's the
Stacker.
Tiger Stacker.
Yeah, I was so honored when I found that one.
I was just playing with you, Tiger.
Okay.
That's pretty cool. All right, so I'm going to show you guys. So Tiger, what I'm going to do is move it over to my camera here real quick and go big because that's how we have to kind of fake this a little bit. I don't know. That's not coming through great. Don't know why that feed.
Yeah, the feed coming through the YouTube side is a little fuzzy, but coming through
Yeah,
extremely
okay.
clear.
All right, there we go. I think that's better. Okay. So a couple things I want to show you guys real quick. This is 2 ounces of silver. All right, and this comes from, I got to remember real quick, from Stacking NYC. Okay. So this was a gift from Next Coins. And she might be on here soon if we can get her to hold her commitments and remember her schedule. So anyway, things change sometimes. So we got that one. But what I wanted to do, Tiger, is I've got a couple of these that have big brothers. Okay. So this is the Achilles shield here. And I've got the kilo stacker here. So
Whoa.
I went out and got these guys. So this is a kilo here. And this one is number 187 out of 333. But the amount of detail in this thing is insane, and it's heavy. It's a kilo, but they're made. They had to use this computer to figure all this out. But this comes with a big old. Well, it doesn't come with it. You have to find someone that makes these. But there you go. We're gonna put that over to the side, and we'll put the little one in front of it. All right. So that's pretty cool. What do you guys think about that? All right. But we got more. So Tiger. So we got this guy here. So this is Saint Michael kicking Satan out of or Lucifer, I guess, at the moment, out of heaven there, right? And there's a big brother of it. Now, OC Stacker's been trying to get me to sell this to him for a long time, but I got to tell you guys stories from JM Bullion for $900, and at the time their retail was $1,500. I haven't looked recently. I'm guessing most of these are really going for close to $2,000 to $2,500. But I bought two of these, and I went back, about a minute later to try to buy more, and they were all sold out. And it turns out someone at JM Bullion screwed up and put the wrong price on there, but they honored it, so that's cool. Look at that. That one's impressive. You guys like that one? So
That's
we're going to do a
impressive.
little voting here in a minute to see which one you like. All right. Then I've got a Henry II, I believe. I think this is Ken Henry II shield.
It
And
is.
there's some questionable symbolism on this one. This is like Baphomet. So I don't know. I'm like, I don't know if I want this one in my house. Anyway, I gotta check that one out. This one doesn't stack as well on the stand, but the detail of it is really cool. Oh, come on. Let's see if I can get this to work better. I don't know. I'm going to be probably signing up for a different streaming service here because I just cannot get StreamYard to work ever. Let's see if we can get this to work better, guys.
Yeah, you're
That's
not
so
the only one
disappointing.
that
Okay,
has issues with StreamYard. I did a video that
fine.
I've had to work
Forget
extra to clean it up.
them. We're going to do it on this cam. Okay, you guys can see this. It's like the size of my face.
Beautiful.
So much detail in this thing. And anyway, if you ever go to a coin show and you have a booth, these things get a lot of attention. Okay. And people get so excited around that too. Okay, so I've got another one, Tiger, that I'm just going to show off real quick. There's one you're missing, by the way. So this is one I didn't see you pull up. Thor.
No, I don't
Thor's
have a
hammer.
Thor's hammer. Forgot all about that one.
So this is the only one I have two of. I'm only stacking one of each of these. I don't have multiples. Any extras I had, I've sold in the past, but that's Thor. These at one of the coin shows because someone just wouldn't walk away until they had it in their hand. Now these kilos I've shown, and let's see if this is working again. No, that's horrible. All right, so these kilo shields that I was showing you guys, they only make 33 of those. I think the Dogaba shield from South Korea, I think they actually made more of these ones. But this is the crown jewel here, which is the Mayan calendar. So this is it in silver, 2 ounces. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And this is it in gold. A
Are you
gold
joking
kilo.
me?
A gold kilo. Tiger, do you not have a gold kilo? Do I have something you don't have?
No, I don't. I don't have. Are you sure that's not gold plated?
It's a gold kilo, dude.
I think you're teasing
So
me. That's a
look,
big expense.
what does it tell you right there? I mean, it's backwards, but AG.
AG is silver. AU is gold.
I know. What's it telling you, Tiger?
It says it's a kilo, but it says AG.
It's a kilo of silver. So this one happens to be number 11 out of 99 that they made. Only 99 of these. This thing I'm not selling cool. And really when they've done that's gold plated. Okay. But it is pretty darn cool. So I'm gonna put these three up, even though it's blurry here, and then we're gonna go back to you, Tiger, in a second. But what do you guys think? Which one is the coolest? Okay. It's gonna have to do it like this. Okay, number one. So put a one in the chat if it's the Achilles shield here, the round one. Okay. Has a lot of crazy detail to it. Number two, if it's St. Michael shield. Okay, this guy here, put a number two for that. Gosh. Number three, if it's King Henry II. Number four, if it's the Aztec calendar. Okay, I want to see which one you guys think is the coolest. All right, since this camera shows up for me, but we're gonna go back over to you, Tiger, here. So we can see your stuff better. But I want to see which one you guys think's best. Okay, so Tiger, I got a couple questions for you on this.
Yeah, what's up?
Personally, I don't buy a lot of these. I mean, I have a lot of these, okay, but
Uh-huh.
this is it. I'm not collecting and buying any more of these. I kind of stopped doing that a long time ago, um, maybe about a year and a half ago. And one of the reasons I stopped doing that is I I really decided I needed to get more weight, and these have a pretty good premium on them. Now, these are fun things though because they all of them have a historic nature to them. Okay, they're all made after in replicas of something. Okay, so these shields are in museums somewhere. Now, some of the ones you have, I don't know. The one with the apple and the star, I'm not sure that those are actually made after anything, but at least the ones I have, I know are made um, after something. Maybe not the vault, but I still think the vault is. So
Okay.
these are kind of fun. They're not old. They're not from the 2 ounces from a historic perspective, but they are really perspective of is a likeness of an actual replica that exists out there. They're usually pretty affordable. I think they're around like 70 to 90 bucks is what you're going to find most of them. As silver goes up, you might see the price starting to go up, and as the collection starts to grow, you'll probably see some of the earlier ones getting higher prices. So, you know, why do you have two of them, and why do you have so many of these? What's been the fun factor for you, and the reason that you've been collecting some of these?
Well, I try not to for the same reason you try not to. But it kind of goes a little bit beyond the reason why I got into stacking in the first place. I was a horrible saver. Believed
Okay.
all the stuff that the government told us. Everything will be fine. We'll take care of everything. All the governmental Kool-Aid that they made us all drink. And one day, 3 to 4 years ago, I started realizing a lot of my observations in my life were starting to really fit a pattern, and was a little mad at myself that it took me that long to put it together because I consider myself pretty intelligent, but it was what it was. But I like pretty things, and pretty things cost money. So I like pretty cars, pretty airplanes, pretty women, pretty motorcycles. It had to be pretty. And
Well,
it
okay,
cost
I got a quick question for you though. Which one's the most expensive?
the pretty woman. I've been with her for
That's
16
that's
years.
what I figured.
But I've been with her for 16 years, maybe more. And, but honestly, she's the best woman I've ever been with. She's been the most honest woman I've ever been with. And, when you and I have talked about our lives, it's kind of cool because I think I met your wife's sister over in Ukraine. So it's kind of cool. But what this does for me is allow me to do savings and satisfy pretty. and cash doesn't do it. Cash is not pretty at all. Um, Junk silver is a little bit pretty, but I got into this simply because, like you, I started visiting auction channels and saw stuff that I wasn't seeing at the pawn shop or the coin shop, and it's like, do I really want to go buy some more junk silver? Another maple, another silver eagle. And like seeing this, I was like, what? That's pretty. I want it. And that started all this. But me, with my have to prove everything personality, kind of like the scientist personality, they say it's a
Yeah.
stacker. Well, how can you know if it's a stacker if you can't stack it? So I bought two. I didn't want to buy a whole bunch because,
so, you,
you know,
so you took it literally.
so, if you look at it, they weren't exactly cheap. This one
Do
was
you do you have
$105.
one that you can do you have two of them that you can open up? I don't want to make them up if you don't. I've never opened mine.
Oh,
And just as a caution to you too, Tiger, capsules, they become a little less tight. So you don't want to be in the habit of opening these capsules very often because they may not fit back. And these are all special shaped.
yes, they are.
Just this one here came totally busted. Okay. It was
Wow.
totally cracked. And because it's gold gilted, it probably is fine, right? Not going to have
Yeah,
issues with corrosion or anything like that. But
yeah,
I wanted it to be like this. I told the guy I'm gonna return it if he doesn't send me another deal. And so he had to go back to manufacturing and have another one of these made, which probably cost him a pretty penny. So you're not
yeah.
going to be able to get those very easily on the kilos. On the 2 ounces, it might be a little easier. But I want to pull a couple comments up real quick,
Well, to answer your
Tiger,
question, I
to
never
ask
open
you
these
and
when
just
they
to yeah,
come with a packet like this. I don't even try.
yeah, you keep those in. So I did just rip one of those open because I don't like it in that. So
Okay.
this is where I got the second one like this. So maybe we'll talk about that and send that out to you, Tiger, or something. I don't know. I'm either gonna sell this or maybe you have interest in it. I don't know. But this side is totally in the wrap. You can cut it and take a hair dryer to it. So a couple things that I'm thinking too, Tiger, when you look at this, and comments just to make from my side is I just wanted to show you guys this real quick too. So this is fun silver. This is silver that wow, that is so laggy. That should not be that laggy. This is fun silver. Okay, so please do not go crazy buying kilos like this unless you have already met your minimum goals and maybe even your middle goals, maybe even your top goals. Um, these are part of the collection. If I go to sell these ever, I plan on being able to sell these for a lot more than the silver weight that they have. And it's going to go to someone that's really looking for the most of you guys said number two, which is the St. Michael's one. That's the hardest one to find, and it's probably the most valuable one out there. I don't see myself ever selling that. I really like the Achilles shield, the round one too, and I really like this, the gold one. The other one with King Henry II is so detailed and it's really cool, but it's hard to get it to stand up. I'm surprised it hasn't fallen over yet, the kilo one.
Hmm.
But these are not what I recommend stacking. You might get one of them. And the reason you would get one of them is because you love the art, you want to display it. This is not something you put in your safe. Now, I put everything in the safe because I've got kids that come by and people that are in the house and stuff. So all this stuff either goes into my vaulting facility offsite or it goes into my safe. Now, with these guys here, um, if you're not displaying them, um, you can put them away, but these are really made for more of the art and the display. Now, as I as I figure out a studio and other things, maybe I'll leave these up more often and just make them part of a display. I don't know that anybody in the house really is going to know they're silver. They may think there's something else. Um, we get silver up to triple digit silver, then I'm going to be really cautious about having any of this stuff out. But what I want to talk about with that real quick is these have been tremendously worth every penny I paid for them, um, because I've used them at coin shows. these have sold a lot of coins for us, and they've attracted a ton of people. Everybody thinks this is the kilo of gold and they want to see it. Okay. So when something like this is sitting in a display, a ton of people come up and they look at it. So there's reasons for buying that stuff. Some of this was fun. A lot of these 2 ounces I bought before I really realized, you know, the difference of everything silver back in the day. So one thing I just wanted to show real quick, Tigers, just as another way, and then we'll get to those pours you've got too. This is a tube of American Silver Eagles. Pick up these Eagles for around $40 right now is my guess, maybe a little bit more.
Oh
This
yeah.
one's got some toning on it. It's a 2010. So this is my favorite Silver Eagle design on the back. I like the older ones, but
Same
it's getting
here.
harder and harder to find them. A $2,000 premium at a lot of places.
Hmm.
So, I'd be careful paying extra premiums for Silver Eagles, especially if it's just 2020.
Hmm.
But if you can get a 2021 or like a 2000, I think it was 13, those years might be better. But these are gonna be about $40, and you know, and if you can pick these up for 80, then it's not too bad. It's about the same, right? 2 ounces.
True.
However, I think the costs have gone up for these, and you're probably looking at closer to 100, 105. So it's not a crazy, crazy premium over a Silver Eagle. But you don't want just Silver Eagles. I do recommend them highly. These are some talent rounds I bought at Tim's. If you ever watch Yankee Stacking, um, these are called talent rounds right there. So you can see
Hmm.
that there, and it's a really nice looking round, and on the back of it here, it says 1 troy ounce, and it says lift up your eyes. So you can see that there on the back. And then it is 3/9 fine, 3/9 fine silver. There you guys go. So you can see that. Now, these rounds will probably set you back just a few dollars over spot generally. However, times are changing. So, like I mentioned, the bullion dealer or the melter that is selling or buying silver at 7 back a spot is also selling um, well, actually, he was selling quite a bit above spot. So he's still getting a very good spread on everything. They're just not selling a whole lot of it. So Tiger, thank you for the super chat. Um, this I think is interesting. So I wanted to hit a couple of these comments real quick too. So from Silver Shelby Stacker, we have a Stop the Melt campaign going on to save all of our 90% silver and pre-33 gold. So please, everyone, help me spread the word. I'd really appreciate your help. I think that's awesome. So you'll have to send us some information on how that's happening, Silver Shelby Stacker, to my email, stackingsurfer@gmail.com, and then I can make a post about it too. Um, I think that's pretty darn cool. And I do not recommend destroying silver. Now, I did do a video where we took a Morgan dollar that was coal and turned it into a ring. Um, I still think that's better than melting it. And I wouldn't recommend doing that with very many things, but it's an example of a coin that I wanted to hold on to and carry with me um, as a ring. And most of those are not going to be from, it's like a 1921. It's not even a rare date, but most people that are making rings are not using those coins. They're using stuff that's much more modern, or they may have a favorite coin that they have that means something. Their dad gave it to them. So don't go attacking those people if they go make one ring. The point of what was said here really comes down to saving as much of this stuff as we can, right? Um, I don't call it junk silver anymore, because if you call it junk silver, it gives the connotation that it's not very valuable and people don't want it.
True.
So gold to silver ratio has gone down to 92. It's going to go up and down, guys. It's been high for quite a while, so I think we could see silver have a time here. If I go back, I want to say it was either last summer or the summer before. I think it was last summer. I was at Disneyland waiting for Space Mountain, and I get a text from OC Stacker saying, "Hey, um, we've got a channel member that, all right, I guess I sent it to him. Channel member that wanted to do the gold to silver ratio, and they had, I think the ratio was in the high 60s, and you know, for us, we can't swap things straight across. Um, we lose a bunch of money doing that, but usually we can do it on one side instead of taking money from selling it and buying it. But we found a good swap ratio that worked for this person, and we hurried and did that to kind of help that person out, and it worked out for us as well. We were able to take advantage of that too. So it's gonna go between probably 65 and 100 and 105 for a while. Could we see it go higher? We could. If they really come back and try to suppress silver, we'll see that. But it looks like they don't have a lot of cash, and if the banks don't have a lot of cash, they may lose the ability to do that. So welcome Alan Satoshi Greenspan. So he's got some good ideas here, guys. Stack silver, gather gold, be your own bank, and be your own bank. So that is pretty cool. And then quantities of 90%, they like to keep it out of the furnaces, especially Coin Shop Chris. So yeah, a lot of people want to keep it away from the furnaces, guys. But one of the issues you run into is liquidity for the bullion dealer. Right now, where silver's starting to head up, they're less likely to melt the constitutional silver. But if we get to a point where we're back on this isn't my opinion, because I think it's going to take this to probably stabilize it. If we get back to where we get back onto a gold peg or a gold standard, um, if it's a gold peg, it kind of slow the bleed. Prices could stabilize. People could be less interested in it and decide they want to sell their silver. And if they're inundated with a ton of it, the melters may have nothing else to do but then to start to melt it down. So, if you do care about the constitutional silver, the old gold, the old silver, those are things I'd probably hold on to, as long as you can pass them on to your family. Let's see, and this is what's happening. They're so flush. So I want to see in the comments, how can the silver price be going up and the silver bullion dealers are so flush with it that they can't sell it, and so those premiums are going to start to grow again. Okay, that's what's going to happen here. All right, so this sale came on. I saw that yesterday. I don't know if it's still going. My guess is maybe it's still going this weekend. So they're trying to get rid of it. I have to say, I've never bought constitutional silver over $22.50. That's the highest I've ever paid per dollar face. And I think it's close to $26 right now. I have to say, I have a hard time paying that because I just most of the silver constitutional silver I've bought has been at $16 face. So it's hard to pay anything that high for me. Tiger, here's a question for you. Would you be interested in some sort of trade for one of your pirate compass stackers? I have a 2-ounce Thor stacker if you're interested. There you go. There's a trade. So if that's something you have interest in doing, I'd reach out to Captain Stacks. You can leave your email in the chat too.
Yeah, just email me at the Tiger Stacker. It'll also give me some time to consider it. So what's really cool about this piece here is that when you're buying silver and you're trying to be a stacker, but you are turning into a collector, you kind of lose your way. So you can follow your way back through using the compass. Ha!
There you go. And I'm also wondering, Tiger, if that's going to work when we have a pole shift.
It could. It could. Hey, by the way, speaking of polls, did you see Triple P, Presto Packing Pilot's video where he talked about there being a pyramid in Antarctica? Yeah, I know.
I think there's a bunch of movies on that too. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool, and I don't know what it all means. It does kind of hint towards maybe yet another conspiracy theory, but it was since we were talking about polls, that made me think about that video, which I thought was really cool.
I do. I think that is pretty darn cool. So, every continent, I believe, has a pyramid on it.
Really?
And I believe so. And there's pyramids that are all over North America. They're just they weren't built with the same materials, so they have to use like LiDAR on the satellites to see it, or airplanes. And there's pyramids all over United States. They're a little bit more of a mound. You get down into Central America and Mexico, you start getting, the Mayan temples, right? Those are
Mhm.
pyramids. And
True.
then I don't know what they have in Africa. Maybe those aren't, maybe those are also destroyed. But I heard that every continent has those. So possibly Antarctica has pyramids if it goes back far enough before it was frozen.
Well, it according to what he put on there was you could see the shadow from the sun of the pyramid, but when you try to zoom in from satellite imagery, it up to a certain point, and then poof, it's gone. But yet the shadow's still there. So
That's interesting.
yeah, it's a really interesting video, and those of you who are interested in that, you might want to go see Triple P's video on that. It's really cool. In fact, I was kind of grateful to see him come back. He's been away from the community for far too long. But
So
no,
Michael thinks it's Stargate. Brett thinks it's a fallen angel technology. So do angels have technology is a question I would have. And what's the difference between technology and magic, right? If you don't understand how it works, it becomes magic to people.
well, I don't consider magic. I don't think they
Well, I'm
have
not saying they're
technology.
magic. I'm
I
just saying,
think miracles.
what does an angel have that's technology wise? Would you call it technology? Would you call it magic? Would you call it a miracle? Would you just would you call it something else? Um, but yeah, maybe it is one of those things. I don't know. I haven't been there.
Neither have I.
So okay, here's a good question, Tiger. This one comes up on our conversations when we talk. So do you see the possibility of the government nationalizing the use of the US silver and gold mines?
That depends on who's in power. If you have more of, in my opinion, if you have people who are more of the socialistic minded, yeah, they're going to want to make it all owned and controlled by the government. If you have someone who is more minded of capitalism and individuality, it's less likely. And it all depends on who's in power at what time.
Yeah.
That's my personal viewpoint.
So we've had a confiscation of gold in the past. There was a silver
We've had at
confiscation.
least four at
Yeah.
minimum.
Yep. So we've had that in the past. We've had a silver confiscation, but it wasn't on the constitutional silver. So could it happen? It could. If we go to burn off all of our debt in the United States, we've got to come up with almost $37 trillion to pay off the debt. If you want to go after all the IOUs, I think it's closer. I've heard the number between 142 trillion and 200 trillion. So
Wow.
I think it's 200 trillion, and so I've heard that number more. But anyway, if you look at those numbers there, if we went to revalue our gold to that number, you can technically burn off all of the debt. But what you start to run into, and this is where the problem comes into place, is every country is going to be really upset because their US dollars are going to hyperinflate. We're going to burn those dollars off. And so there will be a period of time where, if that happens, where your gold and silver is going to be worth a crazy amount of money. You'll be able to sell some of that to to go buy a lot of real estate. My guess is probably a lot of cryptocurrency if anybody cares for it anymore after they do that.
Hmm.
Um, I know a lot of Bitcoin fans believe Bitcoin is just going to go up and silver and gold is going to disappear because I've been talking to two guys about it for the last 24 hours. I give up. They're just not going to listen to anything. It's only Bitcoin. That's the only thing you should own. They're saying you should own 90% Bitcoin. I think that's crazy. I would not do that. But when I look at the comment up here, if the confiscation were to happen, I think it would happen because we need the gold in order to reset the currency without completely wrecking everybody in the United States. Now, that's a possibility. It's less likely to happen with probably our current president, more likely to happen with someone that is more uh, under the socialism, uh, probably president that believes more in socialism. So that would be my guess. Now, if they go to revalue it, I think, or not revalue it, sorry, to do a confiscation, I think what you're going to see first is potentially a nationalization of gold and silver mines, potentially. That would put us more into that socialism camp. They may even nationalize the bullion dealers. Okay, bullion dealers have a bunch of silver, and then you have the bullion banks that have a bunch of silver and gold that's sitting in the vaults for the ETFs. They could
Hmm.
go after that. They could also go after all the IRAs that anybody has that has gold and silver in it. And why do I say they could go after that? Well, it's not in your possession. You didn't hide it. They could go after it. They could go open into that. I mean, frankly, they can go into your bank account and take all your money too. Each one of these things they could possibly do has another ramification and a huge problem. So just because you can do it doesn't mean you should, and it doesn't mean that you're not going to have a civil war if you do it. But it's one of those things that is not a zero possibility. So, you can, there are ways to kind of plan around that, but for the most part, we're probably not going to see it. So my answer would be only if we get a government that is really into socialism, um, and does that. More likely, what would happen is if it's a government that is not into socialism, that's more into capitalism, we're probably going to get an offer to the point where a lot of people start bringing in their gold and silver to sell it because it just seems like too good to refuse, right? So Tiger, I'll just throw this example out, and then I want to ask everybody. Let's say the President Trump came out on Monday and said, you know, we went into Fort Knox. There's no gold there. We need people to send in their gold and silver. And he offered $10,000 an ounce for your gold, and he offered $100 an ounce for your silver. Um, put a one in the chat if you would sell any of it, okay? And put a two in the chat if there's no way you would sell, okay? Put a three in the chat if you'd sell everything.
Can
I'm
we
curious to see what you
put
guys
a
would
four
say.
in the chat? Four in the chat if you're going to buy a drill and use it on the boat that you're going to buy next.
Okay, say that again.
Put a four in the chat if you're going to buy a drill
Okay.
that you're going to use on the boat that you're going to buy with your next purchase.
Oh yeah, I just put it on my surfboard, and it gets lost every time I go surfing with it. It just falls to the bottom of the ocean. They can't find it. I don't know.
It
So,
goes
oh, we got some force
that
coming in.
camera that you bought, that GoPro that you bought.
Yeah, my GoPro's down there with my first video on it. But and it's funny because at the time I was talking about Jerome Powell and just printing a ton of money, which is what's really funny. But that can happen. Okay, they just to clarify, they never went door to door, knocking doors down and trying to search to see if you had a safe and steal stuff out. Okay, I don't see that happening. If that happens, then I don't think we have a country. I think you have like a civil war at that point. So you know, it would just be a big mess. Um, I talked about safes the other day too, Tiger, and I think one of the things just to point out to people is it's always good to secure anything of value. Okay, so oh, where did I put it? Did it fall? Where did it go? Oh, here it is. Okay, so check this out. I just found this in my vaulting facility when I went to go get these out. So I found a stash of 20s. Okay, so 88 20s times 50 times $20. It's $1,760. This is cash left over from selling an ounce of gold. Okay, a couple of years ago. And I just found it. I didn't even know it was in there. That is how much gold's gone up. Now, I went and bought replacement gold for it, so I didn't fully lose out. I like to have cash around. Just wanted to show you guys. I didn't even know it was in there, but that's how much gold's moved. Okay, and if you just kept everything in dollars, you would be out quite a bit of money there.
Oh yeah.
So that's what happens with these things as inflation keeps going up. So, Tiger, that leads me to just a couple other things I wanted to do, and then we're going to cut the show a little bit short today, just because I've got to run and get some other things done. I've been traveling all week, and I haven't been home, and anyway, haven't had a lot of sleep. So, couple things that are coming up. I've got a video with John Eric from Gorilla Pro Customs that I took yesterday. It was actually it was Wednesday. It was a great video, and we're gonna be going over kind of his story, and we're gonna talk about these aluminum monster boxes that he has and coin cases that he has, and is it worth buying those, and how would you use it? The other thing we're going to talk about is this. He has the best prop cache I've seen anywhere. And how would you use prop cache as a stacker? So I don't think anybody's ever done, except for me, because I had him on my 10,000 subscriber party. But I've been following him for a few years, and his stuff is pretty cool. He started off doing it for just cash, moved into coins, then cash and coins. Actually, I think cash and coins, then coins, and then he's doing it for bars, he's doing it for assays, and then he's doing it for slabs now. And I think there's a reason that I think there's a couple use cases where you should be totally looking at it, in my opinion. And then there's some fun use cases for it. And then I think there's probably a big chunk of people that it's probably not the right fit for. For example, if buying these kilos is kind of out of your range, then you probably wouldn't want to go buy a monster box. But you might look at doing something that's a little smaller that would basically, hold 20 of your favorite silver coins, for example. But I think the ones I'm going to show you guys is there's some quick grab and goes that you can take with you that make it really easy. So for example, here where I live in Southern California, if we have a forest fire here and I'm by a forest, my house is burned down. Okay. Forest fires burn hotter than the melting point, and they will melt inside your safe. The safe will still be standing, but it'll be damaged. And in LA, in the Pacific Palisades, people went in there and they broke open the safes. And so as they broke those safes open, the stuff was gone, and a lot of the police wouldn't let people in there. So if that ever happens, I will be taking my guns with me as we leave, and I may have to move too fast, or I might be away from home. I'm going to find a way to get back in here, and I'll bring a couple armed people, and we'll go get the stuff out of the safe. I don't care if there's police over there. So hopefully that doesn't end bad if it ever happened. Now, if you have one of these cases, you can easily grab your most expensive stuff and leave the rest of it in the safe. Also, because of the properties of aluminum, it may actually keep your coins from melting. I haven't tried that inside of a safe yet because I don't have a way of getting it up over 2,000 degrees. Big old safe. So we'll see what happens. But that video, I probably won't start editing that until Sunday or Monday. So that'll probably be a video that goes out either Wednesday or Thursday next week. But it'll be coming out pretty soon. I do have a really cool video I'm in the middle of editing, and that's one of the things that I have to do here in a few minutes is with the co-founder of PCGS. So I'm going to introduce you guys to him, and he is the person that created the first grading set for PCGS. And we have some really, really cool coins we're going to show you guys as well from that video. So those are two really cool ones that are going on right now. I think we will have Andy Schectman coming back on next Tuesday. I think that's going to be working on as well. But I want to hear from you guys real quick. Put a 5 in the chat if you love having Andy on live stream. Put a 6 in the chat if you would rather just watch a video on your own timetable and not feel like to do the live. I want to see, because doing a live stream, you get about a tenth as many people watching the video as a video.
Can I put
So what I
another
may start
suggestion in there? Put a 7 in the chat if you all want to have a massive road trip to Andy Schectman's place and just barnstorm them.
Oh my goodness. I want to do that. I'm going to put a 7 in there. That would be awesome. But I don't know that I want to go to Florida in the summer. That might need to be in the fall.
Is that where he's at?
Yeah, he's in South Florida. It's going to be hot. All right. Okay. We will do that, guys. I got to practice my golf game a little bit too. So we were playing at Top Golf the other day. But all right. So I got some 5s in there, guys. I think we got a lot of 5s. So what I will probably do, and I'm going to do my best to try to put this out there is we will have a live stream on Tuesdays. I'm going to take that video and I will probably put it back out on Wednesday or Thursday as a compilation. I may not have a lot of time to edit it. It may just be the same exact thing that's out there. So I will probably put the same thumbnail, just take the live off of it so you guys know it's not live. Anyway, so just letting you guys know, because a lot of people complained last time I did that it's the same material back and forth. But just know that a lot of YouTube does not promote live streams. They just don't do that. They promote videos to new subscribers. And one of the reasons my channel did not grow very fast, it took 6 months to get 1,000 subscribers, and then it just took me, about 20 days to get another 1,000. It's because I moved to a live stream format. They just don't promote it. So, and we have to promote these channels to keep them going in order to justify the time. I could do a lot of other things. I like doing this, but I got to make sure it's productive for everybody, including my wife. Otherwise, she looks at the books, man. Otherwise, she's gonna be like, "Nope, you got to go do something else."
Is she like
All
you?
right.
She's your most expensive item because mine is.
Oh, by far, yeah. Well, I don't know. My son's getting pretty expensive, so he's
Okay.
got $100,000 a year treatment medically. That's kind of expensive.
Oh, not
Yeah,
good.
I doubt anybody in the chat pays 100,000 a year for medical for their kid. But anyway, yeah, we have to do that kind of stuff. So that gets pricey. So here's my advice. It's not financial advice, but my advice is to look at your stacks of silver and gold. Start planning an exit strategy. Okay. Some of you, the exit strategy is I'm just going to keep buying, I'm going to die with it and pass it to my kids. That's an easy one. Now, if you have that, I recommend putting something like a business card of a bullion dealer or a local coin shop, and a note by your stack that helps your family know what to do with it. And you may want to have some explanations on this is expensive stuff, this is inexpensive stuff, things like that.
I
Um,
have I have
Go ahead.
something I've done. It's an
Okay.
early video on my channel. I think I called it "You're Dead, Your Family's in Trouble," where I talk about I made something I call my death letter
Yep.
that I have explained everything. I need to redo it. It's over 2 years old. Things have changed. My trust of different people have changed. So I need to redo that. And I'm going to do a new video on my death letter. It's coming up. I still want to format how I want to do that, but it's coming.
I think it's perfect. So, and I think that's really good. Just to throw this out to Richard that had a question on here. Right now, we typically have on my channel, I typically have about 50 to 60 people watching the live streams. When it's me, when it's Andy Schectman, it pulls in a little bit more of a draw. We might get up to, 150 to maybe 170, somewhere in that range. That's with my channel being about 12,000 subscribers. When you look at Silver Dragons, he's, I think, getting close to 400,000, maybe mid 300,000s, and Yankees getting close to 300,000, and then get about 1,000. Go look at how many people are promoted to the videos when it's not a live stream, and you'll see 150,000 people, which means that it was probably exposed to close to 2 million people saw the thumbnail. So it's an algorithm. They do this on purpose. They do it to make it so we keep producing content all the time. If you miss about 7 days of creating content, they kill you and they don't show it to anybody. And if you miss several months of it, you basically are starting your channel over. Even though you've got all these subscribers, they won't show it to you guys. So there's a lot of games that are played, and you just have to kind of deal with it. All right, well, I'd love to keep going, but I got to run. So I want to thank everybody for coming on. Hit the subscribe, thumbs up, the bell icon if you guys haven't done so already. And last thing I'm going to throw out there here is if you guys need any gold and silver, consider Miles Franklin. Info at milesfranklin.com. Let them know Stacking Surfer sent you. There's a small referral fee that comes to the channel. And then hit the subscribe bell icon. That keeps the channel going. We're so close to 12,000 subscribers. I was hoping to hit it before the end of May, but we definitely have to hit it by the end of June. So, share it with your friends and family, and Hopefully this helped you guys out a little bit with knowing some of the fun stuff to stack, or maybe not. So until next time, peace out. Thank you, Tiger.
Thank you, Surfer. Thanks everyone for
Oh,
coming.
and in the chat below, guys, in the comments, not comments, in the description below, you can get Tiger's link. So that's where you can go over to his channel and cover everything there. And we'll have him on
Thank
again.
you.
Thanks, Tiger.
Thank you. Night,
Bye-bye.
everyone.